I go for refuge and truly enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and truly enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and truly enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye Judan Zogi Chonan La Chanju Bardo Dane Kyapso Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Dola Benje Sangye Dubarisho Sangye Judan Zogi Chonan La Chanju Bardo Dane Kyapso Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Dola Benje Sangye Dubarisho Sangye Chodan Sogi Chonan Chanju Bardo Dane Gyapso Che Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Dola Benje Sangye Dubarisho Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Deshan Tathagato Yavatat Esham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamana Svaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Esham Tathagato Yavatat Esham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramana Svaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramana Svaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well is taught by the great seer. Deyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhiswatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhiswatyata Om Paragati Parasamgati Bodhiswatyata. Okay, yesterday we were doing the Satipatthana Sutra and the four seals. We are talking about this one, the mindfulness of the feeling, mindfulness of the feeling as unpleasant or as miserable. And the feeling, we are talking about three kinds of feelings. The feeling, the pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and the neutral feeling. And related to the three feelings, we are also talking about the three kinds of suffering. What are three kinds of suffering? Suffering of suffering, suffering of change, pervasive conditioned suffering. Three kinds of suffering. And related to three kinds of suffering, what we also discussed was the suffering of suffering is all the manifest suffering, the evident pain, evident miseries that we go through. This is the suffering of the first one. And we were discussing about the second one, the suffering of change.
Suffering change, and what was the meaning of suffering change, that we learned yesterday? Anyone? Suffering change. What do you understand by suffering change? All the pleasant experiences, all the pleasant feelings in the mundane sense. This is qualification. All the ordinary pleasant feelings, meaning all the pleasant feelings which the ordinary beings experience. This is known as or in other words, all contaminated pleasant feelings. Okay, all contaminated pleasant feelings fall under the category of suffering change. So we discussed, and in fact one of the group discussions yesterday was asking as to what is that? How the pleasant feelings, contaminated pleasant feelings, fall under this category of suffering change. Suffering change, it has two sides, suffering and change. And we said that it is suffering because the what? Pleasant feeling, ordinary pleasant feeling, contaminated pleasant feeling. Why do we classify it as suffering? Why? Because it keeps in samsara, it serves as a bait. Because it serves as a bait, and bait, the moment you say food is fine, it's nice, but bait, no. Nobody, okay, how many of you, knowing that something is a bait, you like to still jump? How many of you want to jump to the bait? No. The moment you see that something is a bait, you will not jump there, you will run away from it, which means that we see that as suffering, we don't see that as happiness. So likewise, when we see that the happiness that we experience, it is in the form of happiness, then we feel attached to it. Whereas we see that as a bait, we will not feel attached to it. Okay, so in true sense, it's a bait. How that is a bait? Bait means something to catch you, arrest you. What keeps us in samsara? And samsara, overall speaking, tell me, what is overall speaking, or what is your experience of samsara? Is it very pleasant, or it's they say really not very pleasant? Not very pleasant, right? Okay, and say never mix the two things up. Then we become emotional and the reality. Don't mix up the two things. Some people, they mix up two things very easily. Oh, samsara is not pleasant. No, right? Samsara, we can help people. It becomes very emotional. Don't mix up two things. Samsara is one thing, but what is it? Know the reality. Know the reality. If somebody is not kind, know that the other person is not kind, and still don't resort to anger. No need to resort to anger. See how to help the other person, knowing that the other person is not kind. See how to help the person. If you say, other person is not kind, no, he's very kind. This is very unrealistic. You've been very unrealistic, you've been very emotional, very unrealistic. It will only harm you, because it will never make you realize the reality. And then the same person who you said that, he's not unnice, he's very nice, then he or she really attacks you, then you are just overwhelmed and you say that no dharma, right? Bye dharma. This is what happens. So that we should be very realistic. To be realistic does not mean that eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Which expression is the way this expression came from? I don't know. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth. When you see somebody is unkind, you should be unkind towards it. This is not the solution. If the other person is unkind, know that the other person is unkind, and then see how to change the other person. Because being unkind, the other person is suffering. So see how to change this person, see how to help the person by knowing that the other person is unkind. If you know the other person is unkind, then when you try to help, the person takes advantage of you, the person cannot take advantage of you. You can still help, but the person cannot take advantage of you. Whereas if you don't acknowledge that the other person is unkind, then you try to help the other person starts taking advantage of you. Then you think that there's no hope in the humanity. Okay, so this way we need to be very realistic. So the point is that suffering change. Suffering change means two sides. One is suffering, one is change. Suffering because it traps us in samsara. Samsara is not a good place. The samsara is not a good place. It is something which is, for example, sickness, aging, death, and losing near and dear ones. These pains, and then terrorism, and then unpredictability of the world. So what is happening? Say when the new president comes up, when the new prime minister comes, it's very unpredictable, right? Say in the various countries, luckily French prime minister, I have no clue, but I saw him giving a presentation in USA. I was really impressed. He's very extremely mature in thinking. So I was so impressed. I don't know what the French people's impression is, but my impression is so good, right? So what I'm saying is that some presidents, they can just take the whole nation to the wrong track and create all these problems, the migration problems in the America, just attracting more enemies. Could not see what is beyond that. So, for example, all these countries are not allowed to enter America. Already, so many people from these countries are in America, and they become very angry towards America. They live in America, yet they don't like America. Who made them? Now you're attracting enemies inside America because of the short-sightedness. They think that all the people are outside. No, it's illusion. People are inside. So you're creating enemies inside unnecessarily. So therefore, the point what I'm saying is that the samsara, it's very extremely painful. And all these pains somehow can be boiled down to one aspect. Don't forget it. One aspect. What is that? Involuntary pull and push. Involuntary pull and push. Involuntary pull and push is what? Puppet. We are being made puppet by the ignorance. So this is the loss of freedom. Puppet means no freedom. Loss of freedom. Loss of freedom is misery. Misery is samsara. Don't forget it. What exactly is samsara finally? Is the involuntary loss of freedom. Say if you ask anybody, even if the person doesn't have any clue of philosophy, whatever, just ask the person, say, the life you're going through, is it a pleasant life? Right? Say, just avoiding all the diplomacies, avoiding all the diplomatic, the presentations, diplomatic shows. Just let them speak the mind. Life is very painful, so painful. So painful means you don't want the pain, but the pain is happening. This is involuntary push. You don't want the pain, yet the pain is happening. So if you see a pain happening to you, there's a fear of the pain happening. Fear. What you don't want, and if you see that it is happening, there's a fear. What you want, you're getting separate from it, there's a fear of losing it. Fear of losing what you want, fear of not getting what you want. Right? So, the fear of getting what you don't want. So that fear is nothing. Fear means, I don't want this fear, but it's coming, it's happening. Which means, you don't have the freedom. Loss of freedom. Loss of freedom is misery. Misery is samsara. Okay. Now, depending on how much we understand emptiness, to that extent you will understand samsara more clearly. When we see emptiness, when we realize emptiness, we realize that everything is like a dream. Everything is like a dream, nothing from the object. Like dream, being in a dream. Say somebody who has never been to Paris. Somebody who has never been to Paris, suddenly you end up in prison in the dream. You end up in prison, not prison, Paris. You end up in Paris, and you see all the old buildings. You see all different people, different shops. You see all these things. So all these things, who made all these things? Your mind made it. You agree with me or not? Say you are dreaming, you've never been to Paris, right? And suddenly you end up in Paris. Suddenly you end up in Paris, and then you see all these buildings, medieval time buildings, the new buildings, Eiffel Tower, the Seine River, right? use all these things, then the board, and the various buildings, many people, the shops, the fruits. Okay. So these things, if somebody tells you, no, your mind is meeting, I don't know how to make these things. I don't know, I don't know these designs. But actually your mind designed all these things. You wake up, you realize, wow, my mind has that power to create all these things. Yet, I did not have the choice to make it. Right? Somehow my mind made it. What made my mind make all these things? The ignorance. Ignorance of the sleep. Ignorance of the sleep made you to dream. So that dream was created by the ignorance of the sleep. Likewise, what we are going through now is the ignorance of the self-grasping ignorance. That makes us to create all these things. You're getting it? Okay. No doubt, we are bound to have questions. When I say these things, no doubt you're bound to have questions. Make sure that your questions, I'm very happy yesterday, there are group discussions, you are doing very serious discussions, good questions are coming up. Right? So these questions, don't hesitate to bring them up in your group discussions and then bring in the class. Right? Okay. So with this, what I'm saying is like everything what is happening now is like it happening in the dream. Okay. So with this, yet, what we said is that in this dream, in the same dream, which we do not have the power to choose, the dream. We don't have the choice to select, to choose what the dream is, yet the dream occurs. And within the dream, there are pleasant dreams, unpleasant dreams. Pleasant dreams made you pulled, right? Pulled. Say cheesecakes, your mind is pulled. Is this involuntary pull or you are deliberately going there? Involuntary or voluntarily going there? Involuntary. Cheesecake is pulling you. If it's a rotten cheesecake, you will not go there. You run away from it. You're getting it? So involuntary pull and push is happening in the dream. Tell me. Imagine that same. I'm in the dream. I'm constant pull and push in the dream, right? And you, by looking at me, from the body language, you can see that, oh, he must be having a ghost dream now. Right? So much of fear expressed in the body. Or now he must be in the what? What garden? Luxembourg garden. There's such a glow in his face coming, right? He must be dreaming of the Luxembourg garden. He might be having a ghost dream. Okay, from body language you can see that. Same. You are not a father. You are just watching me. You are waking up. You are in the waking state. And I'm in this, this sleep. Same. So much tension there, struggling. From there you could see that he must be having a ghost dream now. Right? And then suddenly relax, in face glowing. Right? Oh, now in the Luxembourg, the garden. Right? Okay. Say, tell me. I am being pulled and affected. I'm being so affected so badly by the dream. Yes? No? Yes? No? Yes, I'm being affected so badly by the dream. Right? When the dream ghost chasing me, so much of fear. When I'm in the dream ghost runs away and the Luxembourg, the garden, I feel so relaxed, happy. I'm just played by the dream like a small child, like a puppet. And are you affected by my dream? Are you affected by my dream? Not at all. You're not affected, right? But you see me affected. So why I'm affected? Why you're not affected? Because I thought that this dream is real. And you know that this dream is not real. You're getting it? So you're woken up. You're woken up because of which you're not affected. Involuntary pull and push stops in your case. In my case, there's involuntary pull and push happening. You're getting it? This involuntary pull and push, this is the loss of freedom. You don't have the freedom, right? Not to have the fear. Because you're going through the nightmare dream of the ghost chasing you. You don't have the choice. So much of fear is coming in you. Whereas the person who is woken up, there's no fear. One is freed from this fear. So in the dream, as long as you're in the dream, you're constantly affected. Affected means involuntary pull and push happening. This involuntary pull and push is known as loss of freedom. Loss of freedom is misery. Misery is samsara. Okay, this is how we understand emptiness. So likewise, what is happening now? What is happening now, right? Say we come from Paris in the car. Luckily, our driver, the Mary, was a wonderful driver, right? And if say car expecting us to reach Kalachakra Center in 2 hours, then relaxing there in this beautiful ambience environment, and on the road before we actually reach there, anything can happen. A drunken person may be driving, right, and then hit your car. Anything can happen, right? So nothing is dictated, nothing is in your choice. Anything can happen. So these are like the dreams. You don't want the accident, but it happens. For example, I think 4 days ago, on the street, we met, accident, not us.
Demonstration.
No, there was one girl who was hit. Oh, no, it may be with somebody else, but in France, in Paris. It was in Paris, and it was very effective. The police were already there. The one girl was hit by some cars, whatever. She was lying on the road. Huh? Cousin, I'm not sure. Okay, so what I'm saying is that anything can happen. So these are like in the dream. You meet with the ghosts, you meet with the Luxembourg garden, you meet with the mother, you meet with the cat attacking your cheesecake. All these things happen, and it's not you who decided what dream to happen. This happens because of the ignorance of the dream. Likewise, say what we are going through now is also a form of dream. It's like a dream, right? It's a form of dream. These are nothing, just mere perception taking place in your mind. Perception, appearance taking place in your mind, right? And we see them as so real. That is ignorance. So this ignorance dictates. This ignorance was from since time immemorial. So that is being dictating us all the time. That has been making us like a puppet. So therefore, we see that just as in the dream, everything that happens in the dream and that affects your emotional state, pull, push, that is what makes us loss of freedom. Loss of freedom, misery, samsara. Don't forget this. This is so important. But this exactly what is happening in the dream, how our emotional states is being affected. So bad, there's so much of fear, anger, attachment, jealousy, competitiveness, the anxiety, stress, tension, anguish, all these things, they arise because of the external factors. These external factors are nothing actually coming from your own mind. And yet they affect us. We're not knowing that they're coming from our mind, we see them as so real. The moment we see them as real, then it affects us. We see them as not real, they cannot affect us. You're getting it? Just in the dream, you're affected when you see them as real. When you wake up, you're not affected because you know that they're not real. So therefore, involuntary pull and push stops when you see that things are not real. This is so precious. This, in the history of humanity, it was only Buddha Shakyamuni who taught this. In the history of humanity, it was only Buddha Shakyamuni who taught this. All other teachers before Buddha Shakyamuni, contemporary Buddha Shakyamuni, they in fact solidified, reinforced this belief that things exist truly and intrinsically. Okay, so what we're discussing was that the pleasant feelings, ordinary pleasant feelings or the contaminated pleasant feelings, they all fall under the category of suffering and change. Suffering and change means it has two sides. One is suffering, one is the change. Suffering, because all these pleasant feelings are the contaminated pleasant feelings. They are the ones which trap us in this dream, right? In the dream, when your mother brings the cheesecake, you don't want to wake up from the dream, right? So that cheesecake in the dream is the one which makes you to continue to dream, which makes you not to want to get out of the dream. So the pleasant feeling that we have, contaminated pleasant feeling that we have, is the one which continuously traps us in the dream of samsara. Right? So therefore, that is like a bait. Because the bait, it is suffering. And the next one is change, suffering of change. Why it is not a suffering change? Because what we experience as pleasant. One, it is a very vicious, it is a bait. Number two, you continue to experience this, it will eventually change into the suffering. Right? Which is in as pleasant experience will change into suffering, manifest suffering. Right? Okay. Okay. What is the favorite snacks of France? Favorite snacks? Yeah. No snakes. Snacks, yeah. Huh? Croissant. Okay. What about cheesecake? No? Croissant is better. Okay. Croissant, what we do is that, say for example, you miss croissant for the last 6 months. You did not get the chance to eat croissant for the last 2 years. You just crave to have croissant. Right? You crave to have croissant after 2 years. Right? Now what happens is that the Catherine brings croissant. But this time it's not the full croissant. Croissant pieces cut into pieces. Right? One croissant cut into 10 pieces. Okay, but yet luckily she brought a big basket of croissant, all the small pieces. You see this and it makes your mouth water. Right? Okay, I missed croissant for the last 2 years. Okay, the first bite, what is that like? So pleasant, so delicious. Okay, you getting it? So this is what? Suffering of change, right? Pleasant, contaminated, pleasant feeling. Suffering of change. Why do you call it contaminated, pleasant feeling? Is that a pleasant feeling? You first bite of the croissant after 2 years. Right? First bite. Is it pleasant? Very pleasant. Do you see it is like a dream or it's real? Real. Therefore it is contaminated. Because it is not real. You see it as real. This is ignorance. So that feeling of the pleasantness is contaminated by the ignorance, seeing it as so real. Right? So therefore it is known as contaminated pleasant feeling. So this, okay, now you like it, you are very happy. Okay, first piece is very delicious. Right? Second piece, delicious. 10th piece, okay. 20th piece, okay, now it's enough. No, you like it. After 20 years, after 2 years, right? 14th piece, please Catherine, take it away. 50th piece, you throw up. Right? You throw up. Okay, which is more delicious? The first piece or the 50th piece? First piece is more delicious. Keep the first piece last. Keep the first piece last and you eat the 50th piece first, right? And then when you're about to throw up, then you eat the first piece, which is delicious. No, it's the same, right? So it just gives us a false illusion that it's delicious. In actuality, first piece and the 50th piece, there's no difference. But you take the first piece, it's so delicious, 50th piece, it makes you throw up. Right? So the object per se does not have the delicious quality there. Object per se is the same. So what determines is your own body, your own mental reaction, that determines whether it's delicious or not delicious. If from the object, first piece and this 50th piece, there's no difference. If the first piece gives you happiness, 50th piece should also give you happiness. You getting it? This is what we need to know. This is the what? Suffering will change. What is the third suffering? What's the third feeling? Unpleasant feeling, pleasant feeling, and what's third? Neutral feeling. Neutral feeling, we see that the neutral feeling, say, with the contaminated and unpleasant feeling, gives rise to aversion and anger. Pleasant feeling gives rise to attachment, craving, and so forth. Then the neutral feeling gives rise to ignorance. Right? Okay. if you think like this, then there's no freedom. We have no, our suffering is going to be endless. Because we are bound to have these three feelings. Yes, no, either pleasant, or unpleasant, or neutral. With the pleasant, attachment arises, negative karma accumulate. With the unpleasant, anger arises. Anger makes you to accumulate negative karma. And with the neutral feeling, it gives rise to ignorance. Okay, you may be wondering how the neutral feeling gives rise to ignorance. This is a very important question. Okay, let's say that the first croissant is very pleasant, and the 20th croissant is neutral, and the 50th croissant is unpleasant. You agree with me? Right? First croissant is very pleasant, 10th one is neutral, and the 50th one is very unpleasant. Right? Okay. Now let's say with the first one, very delicious, attachment arises. With the 50th one, very unpleasant, please take it away, aversion. Now the 10th one, neutral, how ignorance? Ignorance because you see this as a neutral. Is it seen as objectively real neutral, or just an imaginary neutral, or subjective neutral? How do you see this? As the real neutral, not something coming from the mind, as really there, objectively real neutral. Real neutral is not there, it is ignorance. So therefore, the neutral will give rise to ignorance, and the other two will also give rise to ignorance plus attachment and aversion. This is what we need to keep in mind. Okay. With this, what we learned is that with the Satipatthana Sutra teachings, the four practices of the four mindfulnesses, the mindfulness of the body to be impure, the mindfulness of the feeling to be what? Miserable, unpleasant. What's the third one? What's the third mindfulness? Mindfulness of the mind as impermanent. Mindfulness of the mind as impermanent. Yesterday somebody was asking a question, very good question. Why only mind as impermanent? Why not all composite phenomena? Buddha said all composite phenomena, they're impermanent. Why only confined to the mind? This is a very good question. Okay, somebody has to help me. Right? As to why only the mind is said to be impermanent. Right? Okay. Then what is number 4? Phenomena as selflessness. Very good. Okay. Now we are going to do the overview of what we did. Let's say after 5 years of not with croissants. After 5 years, now not 2 years. After 5 years of not with croissant, and Catherine brings croissant to you, right, in Kalachakra Center. Okay, croissant, you look at it, what do you see? You see what? You see body, feeling, mind, phenomena. What do you see? Croissant, hey. You don't know what croissant is. Huh? You see what? Body, form, right? Body and form same. Form, feeling, mind, phenomena. Phenomena meaning phenomena other than the first 3. Right? Form, which is the body, right? Body. Okay, croissant, you don't smell, it's far away. You don't smell, you don't taste, it's just what you visually seeing. So body, you're getting it? Croissant, you feel so attached to croissant after 5 years. Yes, no? Huh? Yes, after 5 years. Then, Virginia said that, Eric, these croissants are rotten croissants. Rotten. Expired croissants. 5 months expired. Then what is your attachment? Your attachment goes down because this croissant, right? This croissant, what is the second? Establishment. The mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the... Hey, what are the 4 mindfulness? When I say croissant, you absorb your croissant and you forget you have to think about the second one. What's the second mindfulness? Feeling, right? With the croissant which is expired, not give rise to a pleasant feeling, right? So therefore, you are actually not attached to the croissant body. You are not actually attached to the croissant, but you are attached to the feeling that you get out of the croissant. You are attached to the feeling. With the croissant coming to your mind, then it gives you a very pleasant feeling. Now with the expired croissant, pleasant feeling is not given rise to. So you are not attached to the croissant, you are attached to the pleasant feeling. So number 2 is the feeling. Right? You're getting it? Number 3. So this feeling, even though it is the same, then say Virginia said that because Virginia wants to have more of the croissant. So she told Eric that it's expired. Right? And then the Claire came and said, why are you not eating croissant? Right? It's expired. No, the Virginia is telling lies. Right? Okay, so then what Eric started to eat croissant. So he gets the pleasant feeling. Now tell me, what experiences the pleasant feeling? What's number 3? Mind. You're getting it? Mindfulness of the body, the croissant. Mindfulness of the taste of the croissant, the feeling. Mindfulness of the mind, your mind which experiences the taste. You're getting it? Mindfulness of the mind, your own mind which experiences the taste. This mind, say for example, I'll tell you. This mind, okay, I'll tell you. Say, okay, let's say somebody wants to run a business. Oh, now Kalachakra Center is becoming very popular, right? We'll start a small business next to it, small restaurant next to it, right? So, but I have no, what do you call it? The money to invest, right? I want somebody to invest money. Oh, don't worry, I will invest, right? I'll invest. How much? 2 million euros. 2 million euros, right? You're happy? Hey, no experience of business. You're happy, not happy? Very happy, 2 million euros, right? 2 million euros, you're very happy. And I said, for 2 million euros, I will lend you only for 1 day. Only for 1 day. Then what happens? First I said, I will lend you money. 2 million euros. You're very happy. The next moment I say, what? It's for 1 day. Or 2 days. What are you feeling? Happiness? Why? You're not getting the money, you're getting money. But its very duration is very short. Because the duration is very short, it's not worth enjoying it. So therefore the mind which enjoys the taste of croissant, this mind is impermanent. Duration is so short. Duration is so short. So therefore that, I'm enjoying the croissant, right? The mind which enjoys is so short-lived. It's so short-lived. In fact, when we were coming in Mary's car from Paris to here, right? We put the window open and it was going in 120, 130 kilometers per hour speed. 120. I think 130.
Des fois, j'allais un tout petit peu à 140.
140. Yes, so this was sense, and because the window was open, I was hearing the sound. This sound, I could hear the sound, right? When I hear the sound, I was thinking about impermanence, right? So I have learned about impermanence of my body, impermanence of myself, impermanence of the world, impermanence of food that I eat, and so forth, of course, right? And then I was literally thinking of what is this impermanence like? Hearing the sound, right? The car going at 130, 40 kilometers per hour, and the window open, hear the sound of the wind and the friction against the road. So scary, so scary. Not the car, I'm not scared of the car. Impermanence, I was thinking about this is how my body moves. So fast, like this. Very scary. So our mind, which experiences the croissant, the taste of croissant, this moves so fast. So fast means it does not last long. It's so brief. Because it's so brief, there's no really time for you to experience the happiness. Right? Because one experience is so short-lived, it's very brief. Okay, what is next?
Phenomena.
Mindfulness of the phenomena as selfless nature. Now, whose mind is that? Whose mind? Okay, we move from croissant to the taste of the croissant, feeling of the croissant, to the... We move from the croissant, mindfulness of the body, to the mindfulness of the feeling the taste, then the mindfulness of the mind which experiences the taste, and then whose mind? Whose mind? Buddha's mind or somebody else's mind? Whose mind? Your mind. My mind. My. I. So this I comes under the phenomena. This I is like a dream. You're getting it? So it leaves no room for attachment, anger, jealousy, and all these negative emotions. Because this I, finally, who determines that I have this mind, I'm experiencing this croissant, I'm seeing this croissant, this person, this I, which falls under the phenomena, this is empty like a dream. Selfless. Selfless meaning, it is like a dream, it is empty. You getting it? This is the practice of the 4 mindfulnesses. Okay. With this, now, we relate this 4 mindfulness to the practice of the 4 seals. What are the 4 seals? What are the 4 seals? Seal 1, all composite things impermanent. Number 2, all contaminated things are of suffering nature. Number 3, everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Number 4, transcending sorrow is absolute peace. This is so important. Okay. In fact, the 4 mindfulnesses, the 4 seals, should be actually practiced in relation to the mantra Om Ye Dharma. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tatagato Hevata Tesham Jayu Nirodha Evam Vadima Shravanaya Soha. So we should be able to practice the 4 seals and the 4 mindfulnesses with respect to the mantra. This is very important. So we quickly, since we already did the 4 mindfulnesses, it becomes very easy for the 4 seals. Very easy. What's the first seal? What's the first seal? All composite things are impermanent. You getting it? Okay, let's say that, okay, so it's a very auspicious time here in Kalachakra Center, Saint Cosme, Kalachakra Center. Okay, as a memory, we will plant, say, the Bodhi tree. As a memory, we'll plant a Bodhi tree. We plant a Bodhi tree. 2018, right? 2018, we plant a Bodhi tree. Then after 10 years, the next Bodhicitta retreat, 2028. 2028, Saint Cosme, Kalachakra Center. We come back again, and then we have more gray hairs. Right? Okay, we have more gray hairs. We come here. Okay, right? And then the same. Okay, Alex says, "Hey, Eric. When we were last here, 10 years ago, there was no Bodhi tree in front of this Gomba, right?" Eric said, "Yes." "So how come that suddenly there's a Bodhi tree?" And Patrick said, No, we planted this 10 years ago. We planted this as a souvenir, as a memory, right? Memory. Okay, so let's say that this tree planted in 2018, it took 10 years to grow to this height, 10 feet tall. 10 feet tall. Okay, just imagine that, okay, tomorrow completes the 10 year, 2028. Tomorrow completes 2028, and this seed, Bodhi tree seed, has been sleeping all the time. Oh, tomorrow completes 10 years, I must grow 10 feet. You know, pop. 10 feet? No, it's not like that. How does it grow? Every year, 1 foot. 1 foot. Second year, another foot. Third year, another foot. This is how it grows. Right? 1 year, 1 foot. Again, 11 months, it remains sleeping. And oh, tomorrow completes 1 year, so I have to grow 1 foot. Suddenly, overnight, 1 foot. No. Every month, 1 inch. Every month, 1 inch. Every month, 1 inch. Right? And then, 1 inch, 1 month, or tomorrow completes the 30 days, so I have to grow 1 inch. No, every day growing 1/30th of an inch. Every day. Growing means change. Then, one day, whatever 1/30th of an inch, one day, again 24 hours. 1 hour, 60 minutes, 60 seconds. So this is how this tree has been growing. Second by second, second by second, second by second. And do you see the change on the level of the second? Do you see the change? No. Don't you see the change on the level of the second? Tap, tap, tap. Do you see you don't see the second hand moving? You don't see this. French people, you don't see it. Second hand, hey, if you don't see this, I'll show you. Is it moving or not moving? Second hand, do you see it is moving? Yes, it is moving. Our hand, you don't see it moving, right? Although it is moving, but you don't see it moving. But the minute hand, do you see it moving? Minute hand, do you see it moving? Strange. French people, they see the minute hand moving and the second hand not moving. Right? The minute hand, I don't see it moving. But the second hand, I see it moving. Tap, tap, tap. This is how I see it moving. Now, second hand, the change that you see in this second hand, 1 second, this change is possible only if there's a change happening on the millisecond level. Millisecond is what? 1 second is how many milliseconds? 1 second is how many milliseconds? No idea. 1,000 milliseconds, right? 1,000 milliseconds. How fast is 1,000? How fast is milliseconds moving? So fast. So fast. Okay, it is extremely helpful when you go by cars, when you go by metro, right? When you go by train. When you go by aeroplane, you will not notice it. By train, you will notice it. By car, you will notice it. But moving by car, sometimes you keep the window open. Particularly when you're going at a speed. Keep the window open sometimes and listen to the sound. How it is moving so fast, right? And it will give you a feeling of fear. Not that it may meet with an accident. This is not the point. The point is how fast it is moving, right? With this, my body is also moving this fast. And everything around me, they're also moving that fast. Okay. So that will be very helpful to think about the impermanence. Okay. Now, the millisecond moves so fast. Moving so fast means you don't know what is next. Because it's so fast. If it's slow, you can predict. Okay, so after the class, then we will have a tea break. Right? It's slow, but it's so fast, you cannot predict what the next is. It's moving so fast. Okay. Faster, the more the fear. You're getting it? Okay, these are the practices that we have to literally experience. In a life, there are impermanence. For example, some of the great practitioners, they say that there's nothing that I'm seeing around which does not teach me impermanence. Right? They're constantly thinking about impermanence related to the things. Okay, so likewise, we have to employ our day-to-day experience to remind us of the impermanence, particularly the subtle impermanence, very fast impermanence. Okay. So with this impermanence, what we come to realize is that everything moves so fast. When it moves so fast, we cannot predict what is the result. Okay, what is the result? Who determines the result? Who determines the result? The cause determines the result. You agree with me? The Buddha said, Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All phenomena arise from the causes. Nothing arises causelessly. Everything arises from the causes. So therefore, what the result is going to be dependent on the cause. So they say, in our case, our bodies move so fast, our minds move so fast, our cells move so fast. What determines where we're going to end up? That is determined by the cause. What is the cause? The previous moment of our own mind. And previous moment of our mind, if the cause is positive, the result is going to be positive. If the cause is negative, the result is going to be negative. For example, what we did this morning, say you are suddenly some unknown person picks you up and throw you into a very fast moving train. What's your feeling? So much of fear will come to you because it's moving so fast. Okay. What kind of fear? Why? What kind of fear do you have? Somebody throws you into this very fast moving train. Are you happy or scared? Usually when you go into train, you have to pay money. This time it's free. Right? No. So much of fear. Why fear? Why fear? Why fear? Tell me, why fear? Because you don't know where this train is taking you. And who decides where this train will take you? The driver decides. You're getting it? If the driver is your mother, she will take you into a specific spot. But if the driver is the terrorist, no doubt she or he will take you into what? Slaughterhouse. You're getting it? So in that case, who's the driver? Our mind is the driver. And our mind, although the mind is not the terrorist, but mind is dictated by the two terrorists. Self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude. As long as our mind is under the sway, under the control of these two demons, self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude, this mind will only take us to miseries. This is what the Buddha taught as all contaminated things are of suffering nature. Second seal. What's the second seal? All contaminated things are of suffering nature. Which means that anything which is contaminated by the self-grasping, ignorance and self-centered attitude will only take you to suffering. All contaminated things are of suffering nature. What kind of suffering nature? Right? What kind of suffering nature? Sickness, aging, death, tension, stress, misery, depression, and the loss of near and dear ones, and so forth. All these pains, right? And then we think about how the animals are being slaughtered. And I'm so happy that some people seeing these sights, how the animals are being tortured, how the animals are being subjected to so much cruelty and pain just for a meat, right? Many of them go for the vegetarianism. This is amazing. This is amazing. So we think like this, we never know that it's like a dream, and the dream dictates. We don't have the choice to choose where we're going to take birth. So therefore, thinking in this way, we see that it is an extremely vicious cycle. Sickness, aging, death, and so forth. And the one moment of the pain that we go through, the pain that's so acute that all the earlier moments of happiness, they're just nothing. They're just like small children in a game, right? The pain is so acute that you just feel the whole world is very hollow, shallow, gloomy, and very depressing. So this is the reality of samsara. And when will this stop? It will never stop on its own. It will never stop on its own. So this morning what we learned is the impermanence. The Buddha taught all composite things impermanent. Impermanence is of three kinds. We talked about two kinds, the gross and subtle. That is different. Now another way of classifying it, impermanence, three kinds. One, continuum of which will never stop. Continuum of which will never stop. Another, continuum of which will automatically stop. Number two. Number three, continuum of which will stop only if we put effort. If we don't put effort, it will keep going. It will keep going. Three kinds. Let me say this again. First, impermanence, the continuum of which will never stop. For example, our mind. Our mind will never stop. Say you are the Nico. Your mind is Nico's mind. You are Odi's mind, right? Ocean's mind. Your mind, your own mind. Your mind, right? Nico of this life. Nico of this life, and the mind of Nico's mind of this life will come to an end. It'll connect to the next mind. Next mind will not be Nico's mind. It's the mind of the next life. But we say this I will continue. And this mind of this I possessing this mind, this mind possessed by this I, this mind will continue endlessly. Right? Okay, little bit confusion here. We will, okay, I think we can do it here as well. Say, when you speak of this I, we can speak of this I in two forms. I, Dorji, I, A. Am I Dorji? Yes. This Dorji is confined to this life. Dorji is confined to this life. Meaning birth till the death. That is Dorji. Before this, I was not Dorji. Dorji is, I was born in this life, and the mother gave birth to me, and then somebody gave me the label, Dorji, and then this Dorji lasts for one life. That's it. Before that was not Dorji. After this was not Dorji. Will not be Dorji. But this I existed not only in this life, this I exists in the past life, will exist in the future life as well. You getting it? So within this I, there are two I's. One is I which spreads across 3 times, and the I which exists within this lifetime. Right? These two are not two different I's. It's the same, but seen from 2 different angles. One which is confined to this life, and the one other which spreads across the 3 times. Past, future, and present. You getting it? Okay. So when you speak about the impermanence, whose continuum, which does not terminate at all. Example is I, this I, which spreads across 3 times, and the mind, which spreads across 3 times, and the time never stops. Right? And the particles may change into energy will change into particle. That object, particle, that energy, that will keep going. It will never terminate. Right? So these are some of the examples. Impermanent, but will never come to the end. 1. What is number 2 category of impermanence? What is the number 2 category of the impermanence? Whose continuity, whether you put effort, not put effort, will automatically come to an end. For example, 2017. 2017 came to an end? Yes, no? Did you experience 2017? Yes, no? You've forgotten it. Did you experience 2017? Yes, you experienced that, but 2017 is gone. Right? Even you like to have it more. No. 2017, December what? December is what? 30 or 31st? December 31st. December 31st, then 11 p.m., then 12 a.m. finish. Right? 2017 came to an end. Whether you want it, not want it, automatically come to an end. This is category number 2, impermanence. Category number 3. What is category number 3? What is category number 3? Continuum. If you put effort, it will come to an end. If you don't put effort, it will continue. Right? Okay, what is that? Our suffering. The suffering that we go through, right? If you don't put an end, don't expect it to come to an end automatically. It keep going endlessly. If you put effort, then we can terminate this. Okay. Now, the second seal, the Buddha said, all contaminated things of suffering nature. So the experience that we go through is suffering nature, acute suffering. So this suffering, can we bring an end to the suffering? When it will come to an end? It will never come to an end automatically. We have to put effort. What kind of effort should we put? What kind of effort should we put to terminate this suffering? Anyone? What kind of effort should we put to terminate the suffering? Anyone? Anyone?
Annihilate the ignorance.
Annihilate the ignorance. Annihilate, stop the ignorance. Why stop the ignorance? What's the relation? Ignorance and suffering. What's the relationship? What's the relationship? Ignorance and suffering? Ignorance is a root cause of the suffering. How to terminate the suffering? Terminate root cause of suffering. What's the root cause of suffering? Ignorance. Which ignorance? Self-grasping ignorance. Very good. Okay. If this is how we understand dharma, this is the real understanding. You're getting it? It's not just a blind faith. You will just feel such a joy. You'll feel such a joy, and you feel that I'm very fortunate that I met with the dharma. You're getting it? If you don't understand Dharma in this context, then it becomes more like a blind faith. Right? And then with this understanding, then you do, say, the Tantric practice. You do Kalachakra practice. You do Shri Vajrabhairava practice. You do Shri Gueshe Damdul practice. You do any Tantric practice will make sense. If you don't have this background, this information, this knowledge, all what you of Tantra, they become more like a blind faith. So therefore, these teachings are so precious. Okay. With this, we have to, now we realize that to terminate this suffering, we need to have the wisdom of emptiness. No, we need to terminate the self-grasping ignorance. How to terminate self-grasping ignorance? Wisdom of emptiness. Wisdom of emptiness. What do you mean by wisdom of emptiness? What do you mean by wisdom? Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. What's your next question? What could be your next question? I said the wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. What the wisdom thinks and what the reality is, these two should tally. What could be your next question? Tell me. What could be your next question?
How can I get this wisdom?
Okay, one is how can I get this wisdom? Another one? What is the reality? Right? Very good. Okay, so I said that wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. Oh, that's interesting. So now I'm getting somewhere. Wisdom is a discerning mind. Yes, I know what discerning mind is. And whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. What's the reality? Right? To know wisdom, you have to know the reality. You're getting it? This is how we have to relate it. Okay. So what's the reality? Seal number 3. What is seal number 3? What is seal number 3? Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. So all the 4 seals, they are connected to each other. The first seal, all composite things impermanent, that is connected to the all contaminated things of suffering nature. That is connected, linked with the third seal. Everything is the nature of emptiness and selflessness. How do we bring this wisdom? By knowing the reality. What's the reality? Reality is as indicated by the Buddha as the third seal, that everything is of the nature of emptiness, selflessness. Okay, it is only through knowing what this reality is, then you can have the wisdom. Only through having the wisdom, you can exterminate the ignorance. Only by exterminating the ignorance, you can achieve freedom from all suffering. You're getting it? Okay. With this, what is the benefit? So what is saying everything is nature of selflessness? What do you understand by everything is the nature of emptiness, selflessness? So in other words, what it says here is that everything is like a dream. Nothing is real. Everything is coming from your subject, not from the object. Everything is coming from the subject. Everything is like a dream. Okay. The next question. Yes.
Could you explain the difference between emptiness and selflessness? It was asked yesterday in the group discussion.
Could you explain what's the difference between emptiness and selflessness? What did I say?
That you will explain today or tomorrow.
Today or tomorrow, or tomorrow or after tomorrow?
Yesterday you told us that you will explain it today.
Today or tomorrow, or on the third day or fourth day?
Yeah.
Today is not the third day, right? Today is the second month.
Okay.
Today is the second month, right?
Okay.
So I said third day or the fourth day. Today is, I think, the second day. Okay. So Kabir Singh will remind me on the third day or fourth day. Okay. Kabir Singh is so excited. Okay. So the third seal, that everything is of the nature of emptiness, selflessness. In other words, third seal says that everything is like a dream. Everything is coming from the subject, nothing from the object. You getting it? Okay. If you know that everything is like a dream, what's the benefit? What's the benefit? This is the point. What's the benefit? It is like when you go through the dream. In the dream, you are affected by the dream. You agree with me? In the dream, you are affected by the dream. That good dreams, you feel attached to. Bad dreams, you are scared of. You are affected by the dream. Right? So, that actually, when you wake up, are you going to be affected by the dream? You are not going to be affected by the dream anymore. Why not? Because you realize that what you whatever in the dream which affected you, they're all not real. They're all coming from your mind. You're getting it? When you realize that everything is the dream, that you are affected by external factors stops. That you are affected by external factors stops, involuntary pull and push stops. Involuntary pull and push stops, your mind gets the rest. Okay, tell me, do you remember yourself when you were 10 years old? When you were 20 years old? Anyone who's younger than 20 years? Anyone who's younger than 20 years? No? Okay, do you remember yourself when you were 20 years old? Yes? Do you remember yourself when you were 10 years old? Oh, do you remember yourself when you were 5 years old? If you remember, tell me. Okay, before that, maybe some people can remember when you were 4 years old, 3 years old, 2 years, I'm not too sure. Okay, when you were 3 years old, some can remember. Okay, let's say that from the time you could remember, from the time you could remember, till today, when did you have your mind a good rest? When your mind had the good rest? Huh? When your mind had the good rest. Do you know what I mean? This is a very complicated thing. Okay, let's say, how many of you watched movie in a movie theater? Okay, tell me, what's the duration of the movie theater in France? Huh? 4 hours. 2 hours, okay. 2 hours. Okay, let's say 2 hours, the movie is coming from where? From the projector, right? Which means for 2 hours the projector is busy. Yes, no? Yes. For 2 hours the projector did not get rest. You getting it? For 2 hours the projector never got the rest. For 2 hours the projector busy. You agree with me? Our mind is like the projector. Okay, right now, are you seeing me? Actually, you're projecting me. Right? When you think you are resting in your room, are you seeing the room? Yes. Are you feeling that I'm resting? You're projecting that you're resting. Your mind is busy projecting. Actually, your mind is not resting. The move projector is projecting. In the dream, if a dream lasts for 1 hour, and in the dream you think that I'm resting, okay, finally the ghost disappeared, right? The ghost, the Kalachakra Center, Gueshe came, he said, Om Mani Padme Hum, and the ghost disappeared, right? Okay, I'm resting. So, you're projecting yourself as resting in the dream. Yes? No? Right? So, you think that you are resting, actually you're busy. You're creating yourself resting. So your mind is never resting. Your mind is never resting. As long as you keep creating the dream, your mind is not resting. Your mind is busy creating it. Your mind is busy creating it. It never rests. What do you prefer? Your mind to be resting, or your mind to be involuntary, pull and push? Which is better for you? Resting. But your mind never rested since time immemorial till now, 100%. Right? Your mind never rested. Right? Okay, now, when you get your mind rested, why you are not rested? It's not voluntarily, it was involuntarily. Involuntary pull and push. You create and you forgot that you're creating this. Right? Okay. At the time of Buddha, a king, this is the story narrated by the Buddha himself. The king, he invited a painter. And the king offered him, the king asked him to draw any painting, to make any painting. And then after the painting was completed, after like 1 month, then the king rewarded the painter with gifts. The painter left. The painter was the best painter in the kingdom. Then after 2 years, the king suddenly remembered the painter, and he invited the painter once more. And asked the painter, okay, last time you really painted a wonderful painting. Now this time also you do another painting. And then the king asked the minister to take the painter to the same place. The painter went in. Believe it or not, what happened? The painter went in and came out shouting, crying, screaming, "There's a ghost there, there's a ghost there." He ran away from the palace. He ran away from the palace. And the king became so upset. How come that there's a ghost in my palace? Right? And he asked his ministers to get into the room to see what is there. Right? And the minister discovered something. Minister discovered a painting of the ghost which the painter painted 2 years ago. The minister discovered a painting of the ghost which the painter painted 2 years ago. Painter painted the ghost and he forgot that it is his own painting. He saw that as so real. So that scared him. His own painting scared him. You getting it? Likewise, our dream, we create the dream and we forgot that we've forgotten that we have created this dream and the dream affects us. Yes, no? Hey, how many of you are affected by your dreams in the dream? We are all affected by the dreams, right? And yet, who created the dream? Who created your dream? Your own mind created. And how come that you are affected by your dream? Which your own mind created? Because you are unaware that your mind created this. You getting it? When you are aware, the dream will not affect you. Okay, so therefore, the Buddha is known as the fully awakened one. So we have to follow the footsteps of the Buddha. We have to follow the footsteps of the Buddha by waking up from the dream of ignorance. You getting it? Okay. So the point is that when you wake up, you are least affected by external the dreams, by the contents of the dream. Likewise, when you see everything like a dream, you are least affected by the external factors. Then your mind finds the rest. Your mind finds the rest. That mind rest means your mind is not fluctuated by the sorrow. Your mind is not fluctuated by the mental disturbance and sorrow. So you have transcended the sorrow. What is seal number 4? What is seal number 4? Transcending sorrow is absolute peace. You getting it? You transcend the sorrow, you are free from the involuntary pull and push. You are free from all forms of miseries. That is known as the absolute peace. This is known as enlightenment. Okay, we'll stop here. Tiyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamrati Bodhi Swaha Tiyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamrati Bodhi Swaha Dhyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamrati Bodhi Swaha Dhyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha. Okay, 3 prostrations.